Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation on stop and frisk all week, and last week we were asking you to sound off. We're asking you again to let us share your comments on Facebook or on our Twitter page. We want to read a couple of them now. From Creeker41, quote, "It's a program, stop and frisk, to teach civilians to submit on command to any request. It has nothing to do with crime control." And then we got this via Facebook from the African Services Committee. "Stop and frisk and its subsequent discriminatory practices such as racial profiling should not be tolerated under any circumstances. Good policing means ensuring public safety while protecting our civil and human rights." We have not gotten any comments actually in favor of stop and frisk, but is this about safe streets, or do you think this is about keeping a group of people down, especially a group of young people down, and more susceptible to police control, as Creeker41 wrote in?
To me, it is completely about control. It's about warning folks that you perceive to be out of control to control them. That's really what this is about. At the end of the day, what it also does is it gives young people a criminal record so that they have problems getting jobs, so that they start to have fewer and fewer options. That's ultimately what this is about. And frankly, it's a pernicious practice that should be stopped. There is no clear correlation between stopping and frisking 700,000 young people. That's almost half of that's actually more than half of the young people that are in the New York City school system. There is no direct correlation between those 700,000 stop and frisks and the reduction, a significant enough reduction in crime to justify it.
Dean, I think everyone knows very clearly where I stand on this issue, so I defer to you.
As much as I'd love to argue, because I do like to argue, I have to say I agree. It's really hard to make.
That doesn't sound like a cynical take on what the police are doing.
No, I mean, you know, look at the connection between the outcome and what is going on, and there's very little connection to be made. So you have to be very careful in those areas. One question I do have, though, is why now are the authorities talking about this? And I mean people in positions of power. Why is this coming up now? And I ask, you know, and I think
because the community can't take it anymore. That's
do you really think that's why, though?
I really do. I believe that.
Because I have a more cynical view of that.
Okay,
I'm with Jeannie too on this one, because there wasn't a tipping point event. It's not like there was some incident.
No. But you see, it's easy to say that there wasn't a tipping point when, no offense, when you're not the ones up on the wall.
Granted,
it's been a tipping point.
You're not the one being tipped up against the wall.
It's been a tipping point for a very long time. Like I said, it is very. And see, I thought I was deferring my time to you. It is very hard for me to explain at a picnic when I have African American and Latino youngsters. It's very hard to explain to them why they have to go up on the wall when they haven't done anything wrong.
No, and I agree with that point, but when you talk about why this is coming to public, you know, into public discourse now, your thought is really that it's reached a tipping point, that there was a move from the bottom up to change this policy?
I do feel
what's different now than what we had 2 months ago when we weren't talking about getting rid of stop and frisk? Or some people were, but it wasn't nearly as widespread.
You know what? Listen, I think there was probably some effort to bring this to light. There was a study done. I do remember that. There was a study done and it was published, and they talked about this significant number, 700,000. I think that's what stuck in people's minds. And you know, we're talking about this after an Occupy Wall Street series of protests with all the other stuff going on around the country. I think this was a natural sort of progression of a lot of that energy and a lot of that anger and a lot of that angst. But however, whatever the genesis of it, the numbers aren't lying. It's 700,000 people being stopped and frisked.
If only people paid that much attention to studies that academics are doing. I mean, there is no. If only people paid that much attention. I think there is a much more cynical reason that this is coming to fruition. They are trying to buy the African American and Hispanic vote, and right, they should. That's not a problem.
But who's they?
The politicians who have come out in favor of changing this policy. Absolutely, this is a calculated political move, and I have no problem with that. But to pretend that it has come from the bottom up. It has been a problem all along, and studies are done all the time. So I really do believe that we need to think about why this is happening now.
We're out of time.
Sorry, Andrew.
But the flip side, in 10 seconds, in the black community, we do have to start dealing with our problems. We can't continue to act like, I mean, because here's the 800-pound gorilla in this room. Who's committing the crime?
And if we put it into stop and frisk, are we going to be able to police ourselves? Are we
Right.
going to be effective at that?
All right. Well, look, the policy, for better or for worse, isn't changing tomorrow, and we're not going to stop our coverage of this tomorrow. We're going to continue as we have been all week. And tomorrow we're going to be joined by Tamika Mallory, the National Executive Director of the National Action Network. We're going to discuss Stop and Frisk and also Sunday's silent march to end Stop and Frisk, a march that we will have extended coverage of on Monday. Thousands expected to turn out. They're going to march down Fifth Avenue and do so on Father's Day. Don't forget, you at home, always a part of our discussion. Head to our Facebook page, facebook.com/RichardFrenchLive, or you can tweet us at RichFrenchLive to tell us what you're thinking about Stop and Frisk.